Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Wendy Sarrett, and on this channel you're going to learn about these 3D world from the perspective of a 30 plus year IT veteran who is also I guess, a budding 3D artist. So today we're gonna talk about the movie meditation challenge, which is a character-based challenge put out by Clinton Jones, aka Punisher. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And there were some interesting things with it because it is a character-based challenge, which leads to issues of animation, which came straight out of motion capture, and also clothing, unless you want to use generic clothing, which is allowed, but many people want to do something a little bit more, perhaps. So the first thing is they have some videos up on that challenge about how to get the animation actually into a metahuman character. It's a little challenging. I've tried different things. I even was just seeing if I can directly do this in Cinema 4D. There were some issues there in that it couldn't get all the bones, and so this is what we're going to do. This is the first step that was recommended, and basically this is in Blender, which is free, and all you need to do here is attach this cube, which has, a mesh to it, to the animation. The animation is imported as an FBX, the cube's just there. And what you have to do is you select the animation, you shift select the cube, and then you do Control P as in Paul. Let's do it. There we go. And you have to do with automatic weights. And when you do that, and make sure you start at 1, you can see you start animating the cube. Now, once you have this, you can go into Unreal Engine, and let me show you. Let's see if you can create your IK rigs for that little character, whatever you want to call it, and for your full body. Now, this is not a normal metahuman character, because there was a YouTuber who basically he did a video on this, and he put this together for us. Basically, attach the head to the body. And there's another YouTuber who showed you how to do that, and you basically have to go into Cinema 4D and make the bones of the head and the body one by one, and I should put in links to that. But he did it with all the basic sizes and shapes of metahuman characters. So here's our little character here, and you create the IK rigs. See if I can find them. IK rig definition. Let's see. There. So this one. Bring this up. This is for the little character there, and then we also did one for let's see. Did I have? Yeah, full, and this is for her. And I don't know why you don't see her, but you can see the rig there. And then you needed the retargeter for the little cube character. And let's see if I can find that. I think it's this one. And again, then you could set it equal to your full IK rig, and then do your retargeting. And let's see if I wonder if this was the right one. Well, let's see if this is it. Nope, that wasn't it. That's the one without the head. Well, at any rate, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. And then of course you have to, you're gonna have to point to the animation, and you got your chain mapping, and you have to have the right animations in the right location, or you're not gonna see them. So anyway, you do your retargeting, but actually, in this case, if you've already retargeted the animation to the character without the head, that'll work fine, because let me show you what I did here. Okay, here was the problem. I mentioned clothing. The key thing in mind is that I want to get this thing into Marvelous Designer so I can make some sort of clothing for her, other than the default clothing that I was able to get from Metahuman. If this animation does not start in a pose, whereas you notice the character is in an A pose. How did I do that? Well, I simply did not start the animation until frame 1. So what you have here is frame 0, and it starts, it's going to play, and wherever you stop, if you go back to the beginning, it's going to go back to frame 0 where she's in an A pose. So now you have a character in an A pose with a animation, and it is ready to go into Metahuman. In Marvelous Designer. Now the problem I ran into, here was the next issue. Marvelous Designer likes Alembics. As far as I know, I have not seen where you can export. Let's go to Content Browser. Okay, there's import. So file, export selected. So let's select her. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Let's see, BP. I don't want BP Sky. That's my regular character. Nor do I want the stand-in mannequin. We'll just click on her. There we go. We want this. So when I go to export selected, you don't see any Alembic. So what I ended up doing is exporting it into Cinema 4D. Let me show you what I got there. And I'm going to close Blender because we're done with it. And I don't want to have, don't save. Okay, so Cinema 4D should be coming up. Let me bring it in, and I'll bring over this, and I'll close that. All right, so what we got here is recent projects. Let's see, open recent. That was me playing around. Okay. Whoop, I don't want to do that. I want to open one that is an actual So I ended up, I believe I had to, let's go here. I believe I had to adjust this -90. So, because it comes down, laying down. I would set this up to 200 to make sure you have enough room. Make sure, because if it's at 90, I found that originally my animation got cut off, but you can see she's animating quite nicely. And one thing to be aware of, she's 1/10 the typical Marvelous Designer size. Now you have two ways of going to now I want to use some of their provided stuff as to get me going, and so therefore I wanted it to be the typical size. So what I did, so this is, we now have our our we can export this as an alembic, which is what Marvelous Designer wants. Don't want to save any changes. And this is where you would make your clothing, and I'm still working on that. But let me just show you what I did. Seems like to open twice. Let's see. There we go. Here's our dialogue. Okay. And now it's going to hopefully bring it up. Should. There it is. Let's make this full size. So when you bring it in, I'm just going to show you import. You want to import an alembic because you want the animation we got. And I believe, now this is important. I made this 1,000%, okay? And what should happen, and there you go. You have your Metahuman in the standard size for a Metahuman rather than the 1/10, the tiny size. And as you can see, I got all my animations in. Now I ran into an issue, and I'm gonna have to play with it. Basically, when I put the clothing on her, she goes to move and she get her hands stuck and tear it all up. So that is a couple of things. One thing I think I'm doing wrong, but there also could be an issue. You have to be careful, and I don't know if this will, yeah. So let's have a look at this. Because what we don't want to see is we don't want to see any touching of the hands. Now you can see we got a problem here. So I'm going to have to fix that in my regular project. And then I'm going to grab on here and see, yeah, you've got a lot of, well, this one, you see what's going on here? Her arm's going right into her body. So obviously there is an issue with the animation. And that could, you know, you got a skinny guy who probably did the motion capture, which means that, and obviously my avatar is a different body style. It's not it's a female, which, and you can look here, and this looks pretty good. It's just at that beginning where anytime the hands are crossed, we got an issue. So that's the reason I ran into problems. So if you're using animation in Marvelous Designer, you've got to address these collisions or you're going to have an issue here. So that is the story in terms of taking an animation from a mocap and bringing it into from mating it up with a metahuman body and bringing it into Marvelous Designer, where you can create all kinds of cool clothing. I am no, as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm no fashionista, but you know, I think if she's doing karate, I want to see if I can get some like gi looking, at least some karate looking thing on her. I don't know if I'm gonna have the time, but it's a good excuse. And I have some other ideas for projects where I definitely will need custom clothing, but it's also a lesson if you're doing motion capture. Be aware of where your arms are going and where your hands are going, because a different body type, you can have these collision issues, which is what's going on with this animation here. It is definitely having collision issues. Well, right, I think right here as well. Yeah, you got the arm going into the leg. So I have to fix all that to get this to work. The good thing, there are 20 odd other animations to choose from. So I guess if I get too frustrated, maybe I can just go around. Actually, probably the best one, maybe I want to see if I can fix it in here. I have to look up how one does that, because again, this program is pretty new to me, but I think they do have some, you can do that, which means basically fixing the animation, which I will have to see where it is the best place to fix it, only because I'm thinking the animation has to be in sync with the clothing. So if I fix it in here, then it's not going to work with the animation of the character, because what you end up doing is mating the clothing up with the character, and that's the whole point of the animation, is that they get kind of made up and move together. So I can't fix the animation here, and then, so it's probably going to be better off fixing it actually in Unreal Engine before I export it. So anyway, hopefully you have learned, got some good tips here, because I've been playing with this for the last couple of days, and you know, I learned a bunch of stuff and I want to pass it on to you. And that's the whole point of this channel. What I'm trying to do here is I'm learning stuff or figure out stuff, and you know, I figure it out so you don't have to. I can show you, and you can save time. But one other thing, I can't show it to here. There is a setting. Oh yes, skin offset. This is what I wanted to point out. I had it set to 12, and because that was recommended on one of the videos I was watching, and that can also be an issue. I think you have to get it just the right amount, because if it's too high, you can run into collision. If it's too low, you can run into collision, issues. So anyway, so again, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you next time. Take care.